What if I told you that there are seniors right now, just like you, waking up to Social Security deposits that are thousands of dollars higher than what they were receiving just a few months ago? Not because they won the lottery, not because of some new side hustle, but because of real, verified adjustments happening inside the Social Security Administration. And yes, we're talking about up to $5,150 per month directly deposited into eligible recipients' accounts. Sounds impossible? It's not. Because behind all the headlines and half-truths circulating online, there's something very real happening in 2025. The government is adjusting how benefits are calculated for certain groups, especially those receiving SSDI, SSI, and even retirees on standard Social Security. A combination of COLA increases, disability recalculations, and means-tested support programs are all coming together in a way we haven't seen in years. And the result? Some people are seeing thousands more added to their monthly deposits. But here's the thing, not everyone qualifies automatically. That's what makes this conversation so important. There are specific criteria, payment cycles, and banking updates that determine whether or not this $5,150 figure could show up in your account or pass you by entirely. And what's worse, most people won't even know they were eligible until it's too late. This isn't about wishful thinking. This is about understanding how these changes work, who's impacted, when payments hit, and how to check your own eligibility today. Because if your bank account hasn't seen a bump yet, it doesn't necessarily mean you're out. It just means you may not have the full picture. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know, from the official sources, not internet rumors, and break down exactly who's getting the $5,150, how it works, and what steps you can take now to make sure you're not missing out. Now, let's dive into what's really going on behind these higher payments, and more importantly, what you need to understand to make sure you're not left behind. First, let's be honest. Most people never hear about these benefit changes until it's all over the news, and even then, the details are fuzzy. But right now, something different is happening. People on fixed incomes are starting to report that their direct deposits are looking much larger than usual, and this isn't some one-time error or a computer glitch. This is the result of a combination of updated cost of living adjustments, inflation-based recalculations, and ongoing benefit reform under current federal programs aimed at giving relief to the people who need it most. The number that's catching everyone's attention, $5,150, might sound exaggerated, but it's very real for certain groups of people, especially those who have layered benefits. For example, someone who qualifies for both SSDI and SSI and also meets specific low-income and housing assistance thresholds may now be eligible for what's called a consolidated payment adjustment. This is where multiple benefit streams are rolled into a single monthly deposit, and for some, that new total can cross the $5,000 mark. Now, this doesn't mean everyone's check is going to suddenly jump to that level. But it does mean that some Americans, especially older adults with complex financial and medical situations, are seeing significant increases based on how the SSA is recalculating need and eligibility. One of the key drivers behind this is the way inflation has impacted purchasing power. You've likely noticed that groceries, gas, medications, almost everything, is more expensive today than it was even a year ago. That's not just your imagination. And the SSA knows it too. That's why the COLA, the cost of living adjustment, was raised again for 2025, marking one of the highest percentage increases in recent memory. But this year's update comes with something new. Certain inflation-linked triggers are now being applied to a broader range of recipients, which means that not just retirees, but also those on disability and supplemental income are getting a piece of that pie. And here's where things start to get interesting, because a lot of recipients don't know that their payment amounts are also tied to their individual circumstances that may have changed. Did you move to a different state with a better supplemental payment policy? Did your out-of-pocket medical expenses increase last year? Did a spouse pass away or your household income shift? All of these changes, big or small, can influence the monthly amount you're entitled to. But unless you actively update your file or the SSA triggers a review, that extra money could just be sitting there, waiting. That's why so many people are shocked when their deposits suddenly go up. They were eligible all along but didn't know it. Now, let's talk about those direct deposits hitting early. Yes, some banks are already releasing funds before the official SSA schedule. If your payment date is on a Wednesday and your bank processes government payments faster than usual, you could see that money a day or two earlier. This isn't a new rule, it's just that more banks are jumping on the bandwagon and trying to make funds available to customers sooner. So if you're seeing your money arrive a bit earlier than expected, don't panic, it's a good thing. But always double-check your payment schedule through your MISA account to make sure everything lines up correctly. So where does the $5,150 figure actually come from? That number represents the high end of what's possible under combined programs. It's not the average by any means. Most people receive between $1,800 and $2,300 a month in Social Security retirement, and SSI payments usually max out below $1,000. SSDI can vary widely depending on your work history and contributions, but even there, max benefits rarely reach beyond $3,600 a month unless you qualify for additional state-based programs. But when you add up all of these, along with veterans' benefits, housing stipends, energy credits, and new Medicaid-linked incentives, you start to get close to that $5,000 plus mark. And for some recipients, this is life-changing. It means no longer having to choose between prescriptions and groceries. It means not worrying whether the heat will stay on during winter. It means finally getting ahead of medical debt instead of falling deeper into it. But none of this happens automatically. That's what most folks don't realize. Just because you're enrolled in Social Security doesn't mean you're automatically enrolled in every new benefit or payment change. Many of these boosts come through separate programs, coordinated through state and federal offices, and require you to file a form, request a review, or simply update your information. Something as basic as logging into your MISA account and reviewing your income declaration or checking your address can trigger a reassessment that bumps your monthly amount. That's why we always say, check your bank, then check your file. Because if your deposit didn't change and you think it should have, there might be a very fixable reason why. Another thing that's confusing people right now is the media coverage. Some channels are reporting the $5,150 number like it's a flat payment going to all seniors. That's just not true. It's a maximum possible payment under very specific circumstances. What's more accurate is that a large number of recipients are seeing increases, some small, some big, and those increases vary based on several factors including medical status, location, income level, and even marital status. The government isn't sending out letters to everyone explaining this. You have to do a bit of digging, or watch videos like this one, to even know what questions to ask. That's why staying informed isn't just helpful, it's necessary. Now let's talk about eligibility a little more deeply. If you've been on SSDI for over 2 years, you're likely also eligible for Medicare. But new rules this year allow for certain Medicare enrollees to receive additional financial assistance through Medicaid crossover programs, essentially reducing out-of-pocket costs and freeing up more of your Social Security deposit for everyday expenses. If you're not sure whether you're enrolled in these crossover benefits, now is the time to ask. Your local Social Security office, or even a qualified elder law advisor, can help you with this. It might take a few phone calls, but the payoff could be hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars per month. There's also talk about a payment catch-up initiative being quietly tested in a few states. This is where people who were underpaid due to outdated files or missed eligibility updates are receiving back pay lump sums that are automatically added to their monthly payments. If you moved, changed banks, or had a significant life event and didn't inform SSA, this could be you. It doesn't happen often, but it's happening now more than usual, so don't dismiss it. And finally, I want to say this. If you're frustrated or confused by all these changes, you are not alone. The system isn't exactly user-friendly, and let's be honest, government websites and phone lines aren't always the fastest way to get answers. But you can get the benefits you deserve. You just need the right information, a little bit of patience, and the willingness to follow up. If your deposit hasn't changed, but you think it should have, ask. If your neighbor got a raise and you didn't ask, If you're not sure what you qualify for anymore, ask. Because one phone call, one email, one visit to the Social Security website might be all it takes to unlock benefits that have been waiting for you this whole time.